Okay.
Okay, good afternoon, How are you doing?
I'm doing good at yourself.
Fine, thank you. So to our listeners, today we are going to talk about parole. So that is the traveling documents that you get before getting your green card. And welcome to our YouTube channel. My name is Olanike. I am a writing consultant at My Green Card Story, and we help people to package their EB2-NIW applications. We help people with writing, we help people with reviewing. Our website is www.mygreencardstory.com, and you can go on that website and, just engage with us, whichever of our services you would like to use. So today I have with us. Do you want to just, say hello to everyone and introduce yourself the way you would like to?
Hi, everybody. Like Olanike said earlier, my name is and I will be talking about my experience with a travel parole document. Um, yeah.
All right. Thank you, So again, our listeners, today we are trying to clear every doubt you have about the traveling documents, the limitations, where you can use it, when you can use it. And who has gone through the experience, she's here today to tell us everything about the traveling documents. So my first question for you, is, when did you turn in the form that will give you the traveling document? That's the form known as Form I-131. When did you turn it in?
I turned in that document in September ending
Okay.
of
So,
2022.
okay. Okay. So can you remember, like, when you turned it in September? Can you remember when they got back to you with the travel document? So we just trying to look at the timeline, how long it takes for anybody in that process right now.
Well, they got back to me in January of the following year.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Okay.
so the second week of January of the following year.
Okay. Okay. So can you describe, what did the document look like? Was it like an ID card? Was it like a front page of a passport? What did the travel document look like?
So as of my time, they had stopped merging it with your work permit. So I got a paper.
Okay.
Um, and the paper has a little notes,
Yeah.
not a lot written, kind of explaining what it's supposed to be. Has your details like your full name,
Mhm.
your application number, the dates,
Okay.
that most times you probably realize are consistent
Hmm.
throughout your documents.
Yeah.
And yeah, then it had a bottom part for a signature or a seal to be put on it. Um, and it didn't come on a flimsy paper. It came more on like a paper that had a certain texture and a
Okay.
watermark or like
Bottom.
Homeland Security seal. But
Nice. Nice. So mine is different. Mine is, since when they were still combining it with your EAD card, I believe. So I just really wanted to know how the new one looks. Thank you so much.
um,
So I believe you were excited about it, and you were, you were planning to travel, right? So what was the feeling like? Were you confident about that piece of paper? Did you have any doubts? How was it for you?
well, there were certainly doubts because on the paper it's written clearly that having the paper does not guarantee you entry. re-entry into the country.
United States. Okay.
Yeah, it's left at the discretion of the border officer. So having the paper does not automatically mean that when you show up, you're going to get in. So the question is, what could possibly be the reason, which I didn't know. But that's where my concern came from, especially given that I haven't been out of the country in almost a decade.
Whoa.
Yeah, so that is something that worried me a little bit.
Yeah. So tell us, where did you travel to? What was your first trip like? Where did you go?
I went home because I had not been in a decade. So that was my first place I went to. Yeah.
Okay. So did the TSA officer really ask for the travel documents?
Oh
At
yes.
what point did they ask you for this document, or when did you present it? Which of the
So when
points?
you're leaving the country, they don't
Mhm.
ask you anything.
Yeah.
When you're coming back, that's when they ask you.
Mhm.
And for me, okay, so when I was coming back from the airport of the country that I was in,
Mhm.
all I needed to do was present it to the airline for them to carry me.
Okay.
And that document, if you go on any airline's website, they recognize it. And
Nice.
of course, per COVID
Mhm.
restrictions, now a lot of the travel requirement documents can be uploaded
Yeah.
um, prior your trip, unlike before where you just showed up at the airport and you had an attendant doing everything for you.
Yeah.
Um, so that was the like pretty much the main people I had to show first. When I went through security in the country that I was in, that was also like shown, but it was not paid much attention anymore.
Okay.
Um, but then when I landed I took a direct flight. So my first
Nice.
stop was a city in the US.
Mhm.
Um, and at that city, which would become my port of entry, I had to present it. And it was taken into a different room where I had to wait for some time, and it was stamped
Okay.
after they asked me a few questions.
Okay.
Um, yeah, and I went on to catch my next flight to my final destination.
Yeah. Thank you so much. You bundled all the questions I had in your explanation, and you almost answered everything. So
Mhm.
for some people, of course, they want to know, or they know that they're not going to ask you about that while you're still in the United States, but they will be worried about other maybe countries that you would, have stopovers, and when you eventually get to home or that country where you're looking to go, right? But you already answered everything while you were addressing my previous question. So the next question is going to be, when you were in your home country, you know how they ask about your travel, maybe your visa or your permanent residency card. When you presented, because you already told us, like the security, all of them, when you presented the travel documents, what was their reaction? Did you see any like feeling of doubt, or did they go and, make further inquiries maybe with the boss, or they already recognize it? Like people usually bring it to them. What would you say
Um,
there? Their
yeah,
reaction?
nobody gave me really any troubles, thank God,
Nice.
about the document.
Mhm.
Seemed like they were aware of what I was showing them.
Yes.
And on their
Yes.
websites, they have an option for it. Like if
Mhm.
you're traveling and you're kind of like uploading all your documents or making sure that everything is in line because of the
Yes.
COVID requirements,
Yes.
um,
Yes.
you would see it listed there, right? As a travel parole document.
Yeah.
So they were aware.
All right. Okay. Just a little bit of clarification there. So thank you so much, MM. So my next question will be coming back to the United States. A lot of people that have their green card, they're always excited about, they're going to be on the same line with the citizens and they don't have to, stay on the long queue or the officer just telling them welcome home or welcome to the United States. What was the experience for you? Because for you, you were not with the green card and you were just with your traveling document. What can you just tell us? What did the officer say to you and which line did you stay?
Well, I can't really remember what the officer said, but
Okay.
I was not on the green card line because
Mhm.
you don't have a permanent residence still.
Yes.
So
Mhm.
you still go to the regular line.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you get checked the same way you would typically get checked. I don't know what the check-in process is for those that are permanent
Yeah.
residents or
Mhm.
citizens, but at least as a visitor,
Mhm.
you're asked a certain number of questions, you're taken a picture of,
Yeah. Yeah.
the biometrics are taken,
True.
and they ask you, I don't know how they pick their questions, but they ask you some questions.
Can
And
you
it's,
remember any particular question they asked you?
for me, was, I think one that really stood out to me was if I had any designer items in my suitcase that would,
Really?
yeah, that was gonna cost a little bit more than 10,000.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so those kind of questions they asked me, I'm not sure why,
Why?
but
Maybe because you look expensive.
maybe I can't help it.
All right,
But
all right.
yeah, that was one of the questions that I was asked. Nothing in particular to the travel parole because they knew all they ended up doing was they put my document in some sort of like case and asked me to follow a certain line. And I walked through, followed the line. The floor is labeled with alphabets, and you walk into a certain room where you
Oh,
wait with
okay.
you take the box with you and you go to the room and you walk up almost like a DMV setting
Mhm.
and you give them the box and they process it in the order that they've received it because there were other people
Yes.
there before me.
Mhm.
Um, yeah. And of course, I'm guessing the officer writes something or some sort of communication may have happened for them to know what to do with it. All of those
Okay.
I'm aware, but you
Mhm.
get a box that is transparent with all of your things in it and you take it to them.
Nice. So,
Mm.
while all of that was going on, did you feel like, oh, this is going to send me back home? Did you feel
Um,
any fear coming back to you, like, oh, maybe this is where they don't let me return into the country?
I'll say this, no, because I prayed
Mhm.
and I guess I definitely, for me as a Christian, mine was like really just like realizing that I prayed to God and I've tried my
And it was
best
settled.
to,
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
to do it the right way.
Mhm.
Um, and only His will have to be done.
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
no,
Thank you so much, MM. That was a really quick interview, and you gave us all the details, how you felt like a person, and what eventually happened. So, your last words, what would you tell someone in your shoes? They have to travel, but they only have their travel document. They don't have the green card yet. What would you tell that person? I know you already talked about prayers.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
You
what
have
other
to
advice,
prepare.
yeah, would you have for that person?
And I guess the second one I'll think about would be like you should do your research because I didn't have the opportunity to see any videos of people online and I didn't have the opportunity to know someone that had done it before. So I was doing these things based off of information from the website, which is the USCIS website. So not just doing your research, but making sure you're paying attention to where the information is coming from. It is
Yeah.
not only okay to hear someone say
Mhm.
what their experience was, but go with your facts,
Yes.
right? Make
Yes.
sure the documents are still valid. I believe for the parole, you can renew it even up to 3 months before the expiration date. So I'm guessing the validity should be within like at least maybe like 6 to 7 months if you can renew it up to 3 months ahead, right? Um, you don't need to laminate it. Just keep it safe because you don't want it tearing up from all the folding that may happen and the various hands that may touch it.
Yes.
Yeah, make sure your passport is valid. Make sure that you have,
Exactly.
yeah, make sure you have all your I's and your I's dotted and your T's crossed, where your travel parole is the last thing they need to be like, it just needs to
Worried
be
about.
checked.
Hmm.
Yeah. Because if you have other things that you need to begin to worry about,
Yeah.
it's just common human behavior. I want to do less work. I do more work, I'm frustrated.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, that's something I definitely want to encourage everybody to do. Research, research, research. Don't just take word of mouth. Because everybody's experiences are different.
Okay. All right. Those are MM's last words for anybody that is in our shoes and maybe scared to go home this holidays because they only have their travel document. They don't have their green cards yet. Do your research, go with your facts, make sure your documents are up to date and complete. And of course, this is a provision made by the United States, and usually they don't go back on their words, except it is something else that's the problem with your own case. So, whichever country you're traveling to, that traveling document will take you and bring you back. It's well recognized by all the officers you might come in contact with. So, thank you so, so much for your time, MM. And if you're watching this video, please, please, please subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on all our social media platforms. Till we see you again. Bye.
Bye.